In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In case you haven't noticed, I have been gone for a couple of weeks. Presbytera and I, as well as President John Constantelos and his lovely wife Lisa, and the ever-present Kathy Francos, join us. We all traveled down to Tarpon Springs, Florida, for the biennial Metropolis of Atlanta Clergy Laity Conference. Some 70 parishes within the Atlanta metropolis send representatives every year to a different site, and they talk about administrative matters, spiritual matters, and just to stay connected with each other. We're greater than just our own local communities. And so it's a nice thing to get together every once in a while. And so today, as is my tradition, I like to offer some of my thoughts and feelings about the clergy laity. Actually, so today is just going to be kind of a salata, a lot of different themes, no one theme in particular, so try to follow along. I hope something of spiritual import comes to you. This is my version, this is the priest version of what I did on my summer vacation. So, first of all, as we were driving down, Presbytera and I drove down to Florida, to Tarpon Springs, and I received a voicemail from a widow of a couple of years. Tearful message telling me how hard it is for her for this transition into widowhood. And it got me thinking, this must be, it just occurred to me, this must be a difficult transition, a radical adjustment in life, spending decades with a person and then they're gone. And I just wonder, what can we do about that as a community or as individuals? Maybe just, what can we do to comfort them or to bring real assistance to them? Maybe go shopping for them or cook a meal or just be company, have company with them. And I think sometimes we get duped into thinking that, oh, they'll be fine. I think this is a very painful and lonely experience in life. And so, halfway down the trip, I was thinking about our widows and widowers. I was thinking about them. There's almost 20 of them that came to my mind. When we got to the clergy laity, I went to one of the workshops called the Telos Project. It's a different theme now. The Telos Project is for our young adults, a ministry to our young adults. And they're telling us, one of the statements they made right up front was, if our young adults do not own their faith by the time they're 18, we will probably lose them. They will probably leave the church. And so, how do we make this transition when our children are growing up and all they are is receivers? We tell them things, we show them things, and all they do is receive. But at one point, or what can we do to turn them from receivers into owners of the faith? How does that happen? One of the things they mentioned, and it was just in passing, they had some other things, but to me this was everything, was to actually get to know the young adult, to actually listen to them. Let them talk. Let them express something. Or you provide a question, a magic question, that opens them up. incarnating yourself into the life of a young adult, that transitioning from 18 years old and 20, trying to establish themselves, what can you do to open them up and let them speak and become owners of the faith? I asked a Goyen once, what would you like from your parents more than anything? And this sweet girl said, Father, even if they don't give me what I ask for, at least if I could just feel like they understand me. That's all I want. I know how powerful it is to feel understood and to feel like someone is actually listening. You know, I'm going to give you an example from my family, the Christy family growing up. Most of you know I had 4 older sisters, and then me. So, 2 different worlds. These girls are in their own thing, their own conversations, their own interests, you know, they're all connecting. Older, it's like the joke is Paul had 5 mothers all his life. And so here I am, not only the youngest, but the only boy. And then, little by little, as I grew older, rather than just being the receiver, all of a sudden, one by one, they would come to me and say, are you going through this? They noticed something in my life, and I said, yeah. They said, well, doesn't that hurt? I said, yeah, it hurts. They said, well, you don't seem to show it. I go, well, thank you. Yeah. And it opened me up, a magic question, and relating what I was going through. And then one by one, they would say, what do you think about this? Or how do you feel? And it gave me, I remember telling one of them, thank you for coming down to my level. And I'll never forget her response. What do you mean coming down? Oh my gosh, that was a game changer. My sisters, they're probably listening now. I don't know if I've ever fully thanked you girls for all the things you've done for me, but I'm thanking you now. Also, let me go to another subject here, another workshop I went to. I went to a Greek education workshop. This is the first time in my life I ever went to a Greek education workshop. I've never, as a priest, gone to a Greek education workshop. Because for me, I don't think I've ever had a problem with the Greek-English issue in church, in the churches I've served. I've always considered it, I use the analogy of a birthday cake. The frosting is the English. It's all over. It's mostly English. But the squiggles and the designs that bring it beauty and character to that cake, that's the Greek. I don't want to completely lose the Greek, because this is the Christian faith was born in the Hellenistic tradition. And so why would we want to strip away that beauty and that culture? The very culture the faith was born into. The scholars of the history of the church, not just Orthodox, all scholars, think that one of the things it means that when God sent his Son into the world at the fullness of time, what does that mean, the fullness of time? One of the things that means is that he came into a world that had one common language, a very thorough language, a very educational language, and it was Greek. It was Greek spoken. And to take away that Greek, to me, is a krima. You don't do that. You don't overpower the people with it, especially with... But I was thinking of you. Again, I was thinking of widows and young adults, and then I was thinking of the converts that have come, and people who are not Greek, and people visiting, and, what do we do with that? Well, you know what? Rather than stripping it of it, let's educate ourselves of it. And so I have decided and I have no idea how this is going to turn out. And my mother would be totally surprised. You're going to teach Greek? Are you serious? Yeah. In September, I'm going to have a little Greek educational class for those, and for everybody really, but to just try to connect the dots in liturgy, the sounds that you hear. What does that mean in the liturgy? What is this and what is that? We're going to just talk about it. So starting in September, I'm going to have a Greek education class. Okay, let me begin to wind down here. Another workshop I went to, this was a spiritual workshop from Reverend Father Stephen Freeman. You hear him on Ancient Faith Radio. He has podcasts, great speaker, and he spoke about the subject of shame. Shame. And how we are made, what we are has to do with shame. There is some shame that is toxic and it hurts our lives. But there is some other shame that can actually glorify us. Our Lord Jesus Christ came into this world and he took on our shame. That's why I've placed these two icons here for your meditation as you come forward. He endured shame. He endured the spitting. He endured the piercing. He endured the unjust trial. He endured crucifixion and had his most venerable moment. One icon is called extreme humility, akra tapinosi, and the other is the crucifixion. And on the top of every Orthodox icon of the crucifixion, on the top it says, the King of Glory, in his most vulnerable, weakest, most shameful time. God raised him up. If we endure our shame, God will raise you up. If you try to become defensive, and if you attack, I don't know if you're going to be raised up. I think you'll more look like a fool. But if you endure it and bear it, I know, this thing I know about God. I don't know a lot of things, but this thing I know, he will raise you up. Finally, shopping. Presbytera loves to buy little trinkets and things like this, and she goes to monasteries and she gives them more than what it costs because she wants to support them, and so we bought stuff. Now, I don't particularly like shopping. I reluctantly went with her, and we were in Tarpon Springs. They have this shop with all stuff, earrings and all this stuff, and I'm just sitting there, and then as we were about to leave, I noticed this figurine up here. It's a figurine of what our future church will look like. And as we were walking out, I said, Mary, do you mind if I get this thing? She goes, oh, it's beautiful, of course, And actually, this figurine, it has a place where you can put a votive underneath and turn on a little light, or put a candle, and it lights up the figurine. I went to pay for it, and the two ladies who were managing the store, they were Greek, and they said, oh, how beautiful, and I said, yeah, we're trying to build a church just like this. And they said, oh, Father, can we support that? Can we give to that effort? I said, yeah. And so they're going through their purses and they're gathering dollars and looking for stuff, and they give me $30. The $30 is on the table. The very cost of that figurine. So, I don't know. I just wanted to share these things with you today. I want to bring the thoughts of others to our church because it is my desire to help you in your lives. to bring comfort, to bring hope, to bring inspiration, love, whatever the church is supposed to be. Not just a museum for saints, but a hospital for sinners. God bless you today.